We continue with CSS tutorial, and in this lesson we talk about CSS selectors. Basically, definition of CSS selectors is that we use selectors to find HTML elements that we want to style. First selector I'm going to show you is universal selector. Universal selector selects all elements in HTML document. And the syntax is we type character star, and inside the curly braces we specify style for all elements on the page. I have created a folder with the name CSS Selectors, and inside the folder there is two files, HTML file and CSS file. Inside the body of index HTML file there is two divs. And inside each div we have one h1 tag and one paragraph. Also, I have included the CSS file inside the index HTML file, and for that purpose I used the link tag. And in previous lesson we learned how to make connection between HTML and CSS file. This is content on the page shown in the browser. Now I want to change styles for all elements, and for that I'm going to use universal selector. First, inside the CSS file we type star character because we want to change styles for all elements. And inside the curly braces we can add some styles. Now if we save file and refresh page in the browser, you can notice that we changed color and the margin from the left for all elements on the page. Next CSS selector you're gonna learn is class selector. And the class selector selects elements with specific class attribute. To select elements with specific class, you need to write dot character followed by class name. First, I'm gonna delete code from CSS file, and inside the index HTML file I'm gonna add class name with the name content for h1 tag and paragraph only in first div. Now I want to use class selector to change styles for h1 tag and paragraph. So inside the CSS file we type dot character. Then we need to specify class name. We added inside the index HTML file, and the class name is content. And inside the curly braces we can add some styles. Let's say we can add a border. And we can add text color. And if we save file and refresh page in the browser, you can see that we added border and text color for h1 tag and paragraph in first div, because we added the class attribute only in first div, and we changed styles for these two elements in CSS file using class selector. Last selector we're gonna learn is ID selector. And the ID selector styles element with specified ID attribute. Important to keep in mind is that ID name can be used only by one HTML element. To use ID selector, we write hash character followed by ID of the element. Let's add ID attribute. We can add ID attribute for each one tag in second div. And name of ID attribute is title. And now in CSS file, I want to select this element with ID attribute. And for that, we write hash character followed by ID name. In this case, name is title. And inside the curly braces, we can add some styles. And if we save file and refresh page in the browser, you can see that we changed the style for element with ID title. Thank you for watching. Don't forget like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.